Problem of capitalism versus socialism. In substance, the main difference of capitalism versus socialism is that socialism drives on strong state. Capitalism, in substance, decentralized state and centralizes itself, centralizes individual, centralizes on the ground of capital. In capitalism, what centralizes is capital, and that is individuals. That is why capitalism is feudalism, and technically even monarchy, feudalism. In substance, it is negative, very dangerous, because it is exactly what we are. It will reach exactly what we are experiencing today, returning to feudalism. And that is decentralizing nation into smaller area, and then that would follow into a conflict of smaller areas. Basically, as strong individuals are going to replace the decentralized state by centralizing capital, these strong individuals are going to start fighting each other. Basically, it is gang system, which in previous times was glorified by the costumes and the Renaissance of the times as much as more romantic. And there are a couple of stories, movies being made, romanticizing the lives, the style, the clothing, the gentlemanship, and story says Caliber, I don't know, this kind of legend emerges and born all in Hollywood, and it makes people to think that it was a more beautiful romantic age, and it's all made out of some kind of beautiful things. In substance, you talk about splitting nations to smaller parts, and then next following is conflict between the smaller regions, to the point where it's going to be even about in order to fight the opposition, which is much more personal level, you would be further attacking the opposition positions. That is, the cities. It would reach the point where it will be playing city versus city, as a matter of your opposition wanting to weaken your positions. Basically, it becomes street gang system. Gangs become stronger and stronger. Regretfully, that is exactly what happened in socialism as well, because socialism was sabotaged by being declared as a working class movement. That should have not happened. It happened by accident, because at the time where socialism emerged, socialism emerged out of a need to improve working conditions of working class that were very heavy, and capitalists were getting very strong and getting enormous profit and getting richer and richer, and that's still Europe. Well, working class was getting poorer. I mean, was awful. Conditions working were awful. Living conditions were awful. Various diseases started to happen, and it started movement of working class. Basically, it started as a revolution of working class, and then developed as within that social bargaining of working conditions for working class, started bargaining between capitalists and working class, and that escalated further into mass movement. Very much, I think, obviously supported by feudalism, that is, by monarchies, because they have been also on the ranking of not exactly educated people. They ranking on the level. They were ranking on the level of working class, and they, as a force, wanted to defeat the growing bourgeoisie and intelligence and intellectual, especially in France, for example, under the nose of monarchical feudal Britain. And they wanted to break that. They wanted to break intellectualism and bourgeoisie. And that is exactly what they have done. No one would find building new society if it really was built by intellectuals. It would not be built like that. It happened to be like that because it prevailed the forces of feudalism and working class over the bourgeoisie. And it was easy to break bourgeoisie because they put on the account of intellectuals as well. Intellectuals have been melted within the as ideologists and as idealists and become sacrificed in a process because they didn't want them. They didn't want intelligence because they are not intelligent themselves. They are not educated and they didn't want them. So they burned down as a communists because they needed to pull out the movement. With intelligence pull out the movement. The students pulled out the movement. They always use students. Students pulled out the movement. They have been tortured, killed, cleaned because they were the interface. They were the buffer zone. The buffer zone in socialism revolution were intellectuals. They were bringing it on their wings and they have been burning upon it. They are still burning down Lenin as he is the one responsible. Lenin is responsible. No, Lenin was the marionette of the movements. And people like Lenin, Trotsky and the rest, they were marionettes of the movement. Anyway, these are the people that burn down and continue to burn down. Like they are the responsible, they are the evil. Otherwise, the uneducated working gang cartels, they started to talk about internationala. Internationala, that's international gang cartel. International working class, really? International working class? Well, that is international gang cartel. That's international gang cartel. They have been building system out of idealism with working class, killing intelligence. Exactly what they are doing right now as we speak. They continue to do all of the same. I am the bad person. And the ordinary people, they are very good. The one without constraint, left on the ground to do whatever they want, like a beast and like the creatures. Trading kids out there, trading whatever you told them, because they are miserable, ordinary, the most ordinary, working class, nobody people. They accept to do whatever for money, and because they're miserable, because they cannot stand up. They continue to be the winners of this on this planet. They continue to win and to prevail. And intelligence burnt down, compromised, thrown in the garbage, and talked, referred as to garbage. Intelligence is the garbage. Ordinary people, working class, they are the cool one. They are the winners. They are the best of the rest. And now, of course, you have criminal and gangs, but that is what working class is. That's crime. That's gangs. That is your winning, your preferred platform. That's what you are preferring. What on earth you think these people are doing? They're doing exactly the lowest of all of the jobs. That's what they are. That is what that is. Including monarchy, which is agricultural sector. These are not intellectuals. Agriculture is not intelligence. It's not intellectual. They need to work on ground from morning to evening. Otherwise, they're not going to have their business running on. At the night, they're just completely groggy. They're not going to read book. They lay on the bed. They fall asleep immediately like a stone. So where is intellectuals? Where are intellectuals? On the West, which was completely capital, not just capital driven, but driven by such prevailing forces in the society that is monarchical agriculture and labor class. You have prevalence of criminal. Of course, because that is what these people can do. They can't do anything else. The only things they can do is robbing from other, stealing from other, killing, and the rest. And doing what pay on the street, on the physical ground, on the trading protocol, whatever trades. They're there to deliver the trading, and that is your capitalism. Your capitalism defined. Your capitalism is defined. That is feudalism, that is monarchical protocol, the previous, the dirty, the uneducated, related to land, agricultural, that monarchy we are talking about. And that's your capitalism as well. The idea, socialism of ideologists and socialism of labor class is not the same event. Socialism of ideologists didn't happen. It happened, socialism of gang cartels called International Working Class Movement. International Working Class Movement across the entire world united. That is more like to say gang cartels across the world united. And indeed they have. They're perfectly united today in BRICS, but no one talks that is international gang cartel united. International gang cartel united. That's your BRICS. International gang cartel. And Russians, I'm going to find them today as a vagabonds. I'm finally going to find them in their leather jackets, actually vagabonds. Truly, I was having uncle, which was obviously too educated, too intelligent for them, so they killed him. They left the one that was not with university. The one with university, they killed him. That's Russia. That's Russia. That's Russia. Russia has become country of vagabonds. Americans even worse. They're the creatures. They're the predators. They're the headquarters of the, how you call it, dragon, of the beast. They're the headquarters of the beast. You have to see the beast in its size. Beast does have a size. And when you talk about beast, you have to talk about the size as well. You have to talk about the system. You have to talk about many people united and making that beast. That beast would be made out of many people united. Then it becomes a beast. And you have to notice it or it's going to destroy you completely. Capitalism, capitalism. You have to notice it or it will be destroying you completely. And do not ever forget, this discussion is delivered by myself. These words and this analysis, as it goes, is delivered by me. Not by any of you. Capitalism protocol of West lands. Not by any of you. It has been delivered by myself. You have to look at the eyes of it, at the face of it, and you have to accept it as the answer. As the correct answer, the only correct answer. You have to accept that this analysis has not been delivered by any of you. But you continue to believe you are the one, you are defining the development and the civilization. You have to notice the reality, or you are going to be swallowed by it. You have to notice where you are, how you are, exactly and precisely. You are going to drag us as a Titanic, all of us down. You are going to destroy the entire planet. Because you continue to believe that you are supposed to be leader, like it is important. In leadership, it is not important who is to be the leader, but who is going to lead, actually. You see, you should never forget that. as in any other profession. Before you ask who is going to be, first you ask, can he do it, or she? Only when you establish that he or she can do it, then you might say, okay, if I have a couple of them, then I'm going to make a choice. But when you have a couple of them and you don't have a couple of them, then you don't have a couple of them. That's the reality. That's the reality. You're dragging us all down as a Titanic. You're dragging us all. You're dragging us all. You're dragging us all down. Stop calling yourself head when head you are not. You are dragging us down. You have launched gang cartel protocol. You have allowed gang cartel protocol to rise that far. The international gang cartels are today controlling the planet. What you're going to do about it? Governments of the world, what you're going to do about it? Don't tell me you are being bought by them as well. Intellectuals, you the clever ones, what you're going to do about it? Well, you better come to some plan. As I'm here heavily imprisoned by the creatures that continue to think that they should be prevailing out of the rest of the creatures, as a creature, as the best creature. I'm angry at the homelands that have been profoundly, imbecilically stupid in all of their history, that continue to lock in little boxes and can't see anything out of the box. I'm angry at the fact that they have accepted someone to blackmail them to such an extent. I hate them that they have betrayed me. I hate them that they want to betray my kids. I can't. I have left everything to save them. They could have not say even thank you. These people are not worthy for my eye to lay on them. These people to me are not worthy anymore. They belong to God, and God should look after them. They belong to someone else anyway. They are prolonged hands to someone else. Someone else feed them there. And they should continue to feed them. I am dropping it all together. I am dropping it all together. You don't want to fight the world, then you are responsible for what is to come next. About my kids, it's going to be revenge, revenge, revenge. You overstep whatever, it's going to be revenge, revenge, revenge. If we go feudalism, somewhere in that feudalism, I'm going to find myself as well, as in any of the previous times. You step my way, personal level, I step your way, personal level. I will be living with that. What you're going to do to me is going to be my accounting. And it will become yours as well. That is how it works on personal. That is how it works on personal. It becomes personal accounting. You want to return it to the gang and feudalism system, it will return to gangs and feudalism system. You're going to lose the state. It's not easy to make a state. Gypsies, to make a state take a lot. To lose it, it's easy. To make it again will be hard. Gypsies, stop drinking cheap alcohol. That is how fascism in substance emerges out of such cartels, emerges out of run for material wealth on the level of growing out of that profoundly low gang level of psychology. And tribunal, I very often call it tribunal because in substance that is our historic heritage, where the structures are not prevailing in the numbers. What remains out of that historic heritage that continue to go on is actually the base, the low educated men and women, because the other will need to be elected or will need to happen as a star on the sky, and also they, because of minority versus, because they're minority, they're just few versus the majority, they end up to be conditioned by the ground levels, and ultimately will need to play by the rule of the prevailing mass. You see what happened to monarchy of Russia. To be monarch, it's not, although it is high on hierarchical scale, it doesn't prevail in the numbers, and it can easily be thrown away, swallowed, no matter how advanced and intelligent and ideological and looking forward can be. If they don't manage to do the bargain with the ground levels of what they want, they are dead. And what it happened that at the end we were having social working class movement in Yugoslavia, where our ideologists started to talk, now we are a step away from our reform, where the resources are going to be handled in the hands of working class. That was the final stage of socialism. Everything should go in hands of working class. They should be the owners of the factories, the working class. It wasn't engineers or directors or people that are more educated. No, it will go on in the hands of working class. That is the uneducated straight garbage that gather out there on all of the low-scale events. Yeah, we have to give it all in hands of these people. Because that's natural law. Everything should belong to the people, and people should be animals. That is where human and the idea of human out of Homo sapiens fails. That is where that idea of that human getting out of Homo sapiens fails and continue to fail. We are not succeeding. We are not succeeding to deliver human. We are losing our human. Because that human in that graphic trajectory doesn't fail, doesn't go backwards, doesn't return backwards, goes ahead. On reality, that's not the case. Someone told me, you're shouting too much. Excuse me? I'm bringing voice up to the subject I'm discussing. Or how I should be saying it. Oh, allow me to explain that if we do not pay attention, then we may just never get out of Homo sapiens to protocol human. I would appreciate your attention to this particular momentum, as it can be the critical one in our endeavor, profound, the prevailing endeavor on our planet, to which we become completely dedicated, or we also happen to believe it is already here, and that is that we are humans, and that our civilization, it's already there, ready waiting for us like a table made for a dinner, like a dinner table. It just waits for us to get to the table. In self-service, with the latest events, as the God is out there, looking after us, and we should just make a wish, and it's going to be on that table, available to all of us. Just make a wish. God is going to give it to all of us. Just make a wish. and be happy and be positive and say yes to whatever. Because otherwise, if you scream, shout, or argue, God is not going to like you, and God is not going to give it to you. But if you're a nice person, if you smile nice and speak nicely to people, and be a loving person, God is going to give it all to them and to you equally. It's going to be nice equilibrium. And then the kids are crying out loud about, we are stuck. They want to kill us. They want to throw us away. They don't like us. They hate us. They don't want us. And then we have 3/4 of the planet crying loud about as disposable. 3/4 of the planet crying loud about as disposable. I think you're going to sustain with your wish lists, because you have nothing else but a wish list. New Zealand would be one of the allied parties of Yugoslavia, as you understand, via England, and obviously it is long-lasting relationship from the Iron Age that we simply didn't know above. We didn't know enough. It is certainly to go all the way to legends as it is Iron Mask. Accordingly, I give it to New Zealand rather than to Africa. Elon Musk. It goes to, darling, it goes to New Zealand rather than to Africa. And that mask reference is going to be in reference not to Africa, but in reference to New Zealand. We have to be truthful to the events of our historic heritage, or we are going to waste our time and we are going to end up in some labyrinth and we would never get out of it. Accordingly, the figure of Elon Musk out there is a wrong presentation of what really stands behind Iron Mask, and that is New Zealand. I'm not going to get too much specific, but it is here. There is here a combination of population of Maoris, which are descending here from Fiji in some, as I understand, somewhere like 600 years ago. Before that, there would have been here a native population. Native population appears to be much more with blue eyes. And obviously lighter hair because of the north, because closer to pole. Similarly as in North Pole, you have in north layers of north continent more of the layers of blonde people with blue eyes. Equally, you have similar situation in South Pole. Obviously, because we have also oceans here, and I'm going to still believe in metaphysics and remember the saying, and God created life out of the matter found on the planet, that is out of earth, out of water, out of sun energy, and out of air. So you also notice that all of the horoscope signs are somehow rotating around these 4 elements, and obviously our entire universe defined by these 4 elements. So life would be created based on these 4 elements. I'm not going to go further into godly working room, because we can't say for certain how that started. The divine of life forms on the planet is not just about human. It is about the rest of the plants and animals. And it is really hard to say that they have been engineered by humans as well. And if it takes what it takes to create these wonderful flowers and vegetation and animals, then why we would think that human would be created differently? I believe that it is all part of one same energetic beam and part of one same energetic magic. And I advise that our politics respect that as well. There is no need that you go beyond. If you don't go beyond what's behind penguins, then you should not go beyond what it is behind the blue-eyed people of South Pole, of South Hemisphere. Because you don't ask about penguins the next question. Why would you be asking it about human? Is the human looks like something that you can make it? Is it so easy to make a human? Or I would say it would be easier to make a penguin. But let's therefore focus on what I wanted to say. Therefore, the iron mask would be happening within the combination of the life energy and life forms that are typical for New Zealand and the plateau of New Zealandia, also very much perceived, obviously happening rather, as a part of reflecting on the fact that all of these mega continents as we see them today, once upon a time have been part of one land, which then fall apart because we have increased quantity of water on the planet. There is obviously the chemical reaction based on helium that sits in the center of the earth, which when becomes a liquid, basically becomes a water within the carbon in the elements of earth becomes water, and it becomes more like a laboratory of water creation. I imagine that is the game of balance that is playing between the sun energy and the production of water on the planet. And that as long as that balance, the sun is keeping up with production of water, we would be fine. The fact is that you would need increased sun temperature for longer sunny days for decreased volume of water on the planet. It seems that these vehicles, as it is a planet, are not that much perfect after all, are not sustainable like forever. It is more like a car, obviously, some in different kind of time dimension. After a certain period of time, actually, simply it reaches its end. And yes, from that perspective, I'm going to find wise thinking about moving somewhere else, but I'm not going to find wise starting from scratch as a human, as we are, to make something like that. I don't believe in that. I believe that that is product of entire universal configuration, and that we should be rather looking for such planet where already exists, rather than that we are going to make it. I would rather invest in space traveling or figuring out how to. I think people are already talking about various vortexes where actually, as in the movie Stargate, where you actually can find some kind of energetic swirl or energetic worm that you can just travel through it and reach other realms. I would rather invest in that branch of space examination and research of laws of universe and how we cross the distances and travel to different constellations, different constellations, stars, constellations altogether, and looking for planets where there will be life, that is suitable for life. And I don't think that I think that we have some time, and that is how I'm going to think about it. But I wanted to say now about our present civilizational formula. Therefore, situation in New Zealand is very much, I'm going to say, from acute to relevant. I have been rather harsh versus the island, and it is time that I correct that, and even apologize probably. Although I'm not going to do it too much, because our Yugoslavia was burning out 3 times to the ground, and here there is a legend about Maoris fishing. I mean, the symbols in Maoris cultures are all about fishing. The wealth is connected to fishing. One would say, well, it's logical, it's ocean. Yes, but also I have impression that our Yugoslavia was more happening like a fishing net. And obviously there is some kind of 3D going on within the socio-political affairs. We have to notice that the monarchy of England does have some Maori symbols and so on and so on. So I would rather say it is time that, we understand that everyone else was very much prime. And it is pointless to over-highlight someone in their prime habits when everyone else on the planet is very similarly formatted. But it is fact that our center suffers, and it is time to also point out that such behavior should finally stop, and that we should bring this planet to the next level, where it's going to be functioning respectfully to all of the cultures and all of the civilizations. And by the synchronizing our developments, we accomplish then development for each of the parts of the planet. And everything is more sustainable and more correct than happening in this kind of pagan parameters. And then we call it civilization. Well, it's not going to be civilization if it is on the wrong parameters. And it is pagan, and it is vandal, and it is predatory. And we call ourselves humans. And that's human civilization, because it cannot be anything else but human civilization. Because whatever is in category of Homo sapiens, look at human as its final destination. Undoubtedly, that's confirmative. Because everyone on the planet looks like a human, would not survive, would not be validated if it doesn't look like a human. According to the race here is to look like the best of the humans. It's not like alternative to human. I don't think that alternative to human is going to play for anyone. So don't even try to go there. What it is rather here is that as we are trying to reach that human, and very often here it is not about physics, but about the temper and about behavior. I think that physics is already there. And if anything is in mutation, that is mutation. Equal as a gender, it is not that there was one gender before, but because it mutated in that direction. Although I would say, well, let's return to the beginning of life. How you know? Maybe, well, because God was using water and air and land and earth and sun. Maybe in that laboratory, human happens in variation as well. Oh yeah, I'm going to give some space to it. But even then, and even so, the standard is not going to be based on minority, it's going to be based on majority, and the minority is going to be seen as out of standard. So it's pointless to go after one gender about Atlantis of males, because it's not going to work as a standard body for the planet. And then we would be wasting our time. Therefore, the aim here is to recognize respectfully that we are all moving towards protocol human. We are civilization, human civilization. And we are here dedicated to bring that human in its best possible realization in any new time. Maybe it was not that easy 100 years ago to decide where power should prevail. Today, undoubtedly, power prevails and should prevail on the side of the intelligent people. And only when that is not the case, you end up someone speaking of artificial intelligence, because they cannot afford intelligence. There is no excuses here. There are free. In some countries are even free. There is so much free education available, but also affordable. Education is affordable. There is also state-supported education. In most of the countries, is state subsidized. So there is absolutely no excuse not to be educated. With education happens and your increased awareness about everything that either human psychology, human mind, how human mind works, what human mind is all about, and also you understand plenty about other people, relationships, understand about the world in which we live. You understand much more and you become much more prepared about the realm in which we all live together. And you don't end up to be embarrassed to walk as a creature and everyone to finger point at you. So in order not to be finger pointed as a creature, you have to work out your ways out of it. There is no any other way, regretfully. That's the way. And we have to see today that happening, either becoming not only an individual challenge, but also national task and regional task and planetary task. I'm bringing it as a planetary task because there was, I'm going to notice, plenty of questioning around who we are, what we are, how we should be, looking for various excuses. I found important to seal it instantly, to say, this is civilization, this is human civilization. We are not going to compromise on it. Don't get easy on yourself. And then I started to elaborate on it. I started to pull out other aspects we find today critically important to get on the surface. That is, a woman being neglected. That's immediately next subject, is woman being neglected. I understand that some people continue to see me speaking too much about women being overrated. I'm going to say, no, you're wrong. It's not being overrated. You're just being made to believe that it is overrated. It is actually so much underrated. So each time when we try to bring it to the where is normal, it looks to you as overrated. No, it's not overrated. It's simply not. If you find a situation, for example, a government, where are more female than a male, are you not going to see that as symptomatic? Well, if I see government where there are much more male than female, I'm going to find that symptomatic as well. Yeah, it is symptomatic. First of all, anything that has to do with social scale events, it should be, I believe, very much in hands of female. I think most of the functions in government are actually about society. So it is logical to say, well, certainly around 50% should be female. Or it should be. Yes, I can see why someone is overdoing it, how it is overdoing it. Why is overdoing it? Following what logic? I mean, isn't it not obvious that the role of a woman in a family is more substantial than of a man? I'm going to say substantially more important. Substantially more important. That is, on that actually depends, is it family going to happen or is it not going to happen? Well, if that is the situation at the family level, why on earth I'm going to underestimate it when I'm discussing a state or a society? Is that logical to anyone? Is that logical? Why on earth I would be why on earth that's not normal? Why on earth that's being overrated? How on earth is overrated? Isn't it not men and a woman that takes to make a society? Well, how on earth that's overrated then, or overstated? In contrary, it is rather normal, and when it is not normal, then to be noticed, excuse me, but that's not normal. Yes, exactly. Because then you easily jump into male majority and marginalizing woman and making monkey like a woman is a monkey and man is not. Man is glorious, but woman is, we can joke around it because it is a woman. You see, well, that is what I experienced. Was the message of my life. You know, ha ha ha. After all, you're just a woman. And we are going to prove to you that a woman does not belong among the society of men. And look, Donald Trump administration, they employed only one woman, so, as I'm aware. I mean, there is 80% presence of males in Donald Trump administration. And they're like a dash of fresh air. Something new. Something new? How you mean something new? I mean, your Vance, DJ Vance look like Pirates of Caribbean, which is Muslim protocol. Because in Muslim people are using eyeliner, are marking their eyes, in males as well. You find that among Muslim people. And they're also homosexuals, by the way. I'm sorry. But when you find a male with eyeliner in Muslim world, that is homosexual, reference to homosexuals. Johnny Depp, I mean, what Johnny Depp knows about Middle East? Nothing. Even if he goes Middle East, he would never understand it. That is why our territories are very much important, because we are naturally located and situated next to them, so we understand them. In the way how you, for example, in England, understand more Dutch, or understand more French, understand more Spanish. We understand more Muslims. And you jumping from nowhere in America, in Middle East, become suffocated, become evaporating, because you don't know anything about these territories, completely anything about it. You don't know nothing about them, just nothing about them. And you start playing for them and play Hezbollah to them, then you're the losers, because you're disposable. America is disposable to Middle East. But then America continued to see us as the enemies, which is of course wrong. We're just normal humans. We're just the normal one. Well, I'm going to say there is plenty of wild cowboys out there. I don't like any of it. I get stomach sick out of that bunch of bullshit as well. Tribunal bullshit of this little and the rest of nonsenses. I mean, human, if not engaged in the protocol, moving from Homo sapiens to human, if human is not aware that it is in that kind of journey, then doesn't matter where he is. If he thinks that he is already done product, it's not going to be good enough, doesn't matter where it is. If he thinks that he is as final product as a baby, well, we are not good. No, we are not good. We are going to discuss today the baby protocol, and nothing else matters but what kind of baby is being born. We are not on the subject. Either on any other territory. I'm just pulling out our territories because they are neighboring Europe, and they would be much more naturally associated with you on the parent-child level than Middle East. Think about it. Just think about it. It would have been our extended bloodlines that would have been making Europe, not Muslim extended bloodlines. They would extend into us, and we would be filtrating it into West. And if you want to go directly on the spot, be my guest. Then you get Johnny Depp. That is DJ J.D. Vance. And so, what, you think you have something else to tell me on page 2? Well, I don't think so, actually. I don't think that you have any page 2 here at all. And that's a bit of a problem. I want to say I have been a bit harsh to locals. But it's not so easy to make any better statement than that one. If you were expecting more on the plate. I think the reality is what it is, and the weight of reality is what it is, and we today need to confront it. I'm going to deny equally Elon Musk as a fake character, because he is faking me in front of the entire earth, and the entire earth is just sucking it up. I really don't know why they're doing it. Maybe because they have become so much used to such activity. So it becomes to them just normal. I mean, once ship forever. I think that we can make better. I think that we should try to become from sheep a human, actually. Maybe it's worth it trying. Accordingly, Elon Musk is not Iron Musk, which means the problem has not been solved. I bring my identity here, situated in domestic element in New Zealand, recognizing therefore that there is a third element in our region, a part of the central plateau in the regional surrounding territories. The third element is New Zealand, which is quite a Pacifica, but it withholds some memory of connecting to our central plateau. And here, accordingly, I'm going to report the flame that it is in the center of Yugoslavia. Regretfully, is not flame of Africa, it is flame of New Zealand. Now, there is also flame of Africa there, and flame of India when it comes to darker skin. So I'm not going to deny importance of the wonderful Africa. But I'm going to remind you that there are still the majestic cats, wild cats of Africa, making Africa to be still one of the most majestic king territories of the planet. I mean, they have the lion, they have the tiger, they have the panther. You can't beat that. They have gorilla as well. Or you can't beat any of it. Africa is and will continue to be our continent of admiration on the highest levels, but in the same time, continent that we will always need to, I'm not going to say restrict, but feel rather different from. And that difference imposes all sorts of affairs in the range of confronting it on the ego level, or confronting it on the it's much bigger continent, can literally override you. That is confronting fear of not to be extinct, not to be devalued, not to be validated enough. And it is, I think that it has become, that Europe has become very much aware and very much cautious about the entire protocol Africa. Continues to be problem not solved if we decide to call it problem. If we decide to see it within its beauty, it should be continent to which white race should return to live together there with black race, and equally as black race wants to live with white race, and then we make that equilibrium properly. But as long as black race want to live with white race, but they do not allow white race to live with them, it's going to reflect on white race diminishing or being extinct, and we would not like that to happen as well. White race brings plenty of qualitative stamp. I think because of the geography, I have said many times, they're much more accommodated to indoor lifestyle, which connects to being much more prone to some various mind creativity related work, from writing music to making pictures to writing books, become more literate, become more knowledgeable, become more mentally developed. Europe continues to be real crown of humanity. Europe manages to reach human faster than the rest of the Homo sapienses, because the climate is somehow dictating the habits and lifestyle of Europeans. So we don't want something like that have been crafted in millenniums of time, and it delivering the qualitative dimension by which we today still measure humanity. We would not like that to find extinct, because with it is going to be decline of the entire concept of humanity and how we understand human and where we want to find human being positioned. So we'll try to reach that as a standard by which we would be living. That's the scheme. That's not scheme. That's the protocol in which our human civilization is happening. Simply that is how it works, and it is pointless that we deny that. I just explained in the previous elaboration what happened and why last century failed. It is wrong to say that system failed. People failed. People failed to deliver the system's next generation of the system. People failed to deliver what would be the next generation of our civilization. They simply failed. People failed. Systems do not fail. People fail. Systems will need to are designed as when you're designing a house. How you're going to make it to work, it's up to you. Now, this is, of course, much more complex than thinking about a house, and I'm not going to support that habit to use parallel reference, overusage of parallel reference, and then you, in process, forget what on earth you're talking about. Then allow the model rules to be imposed over the original protocol rules. That is absurd. Absurd. The model is much more simpler. Real life is going to bring all of the hardships and real challenges when you bring it on the ground. Of course, it's going to be much more complex and much more troubled. And that is where the challenge is. Not in the paper, but in how we bring it on the ground. And if we bring it in the wrong way and the result is wrong, then we have failed altogether. It's pointless to say, oh, these people, they're socialists. Seriously? No, they just live in socialism. They are not socialism. They're being trapped in it. They found themselves in such kind of conditions. It's more like environmental conditioning, which happening like it is a rain or it is storm or it is whatever. Most of the people are not responsible for it. And it is more than evident, it's completely evident that the leaders of socialism revolution have been financed, sponsored, and raised, profiled in England. Now there we are, the Magic England, Magic Mike. All arrows are crossing there for quite some time. Either the American arrows, either European arrows, either, as we're realizing, southern arrows, all the way to New Zealand. I'm not going to find a Maoris responsible exactly for it, but certainly providing support versus certain value systems that are not even that much European, and supporting in Europe wrong currencies. You know, if these currencies that are in Europe get planetary support on much more prime, from much more prime societies, as are societies in Africa, Pacifica, and South America, much more prime, undoubtedly prevail still much more on the prime side. Of course, it's going to be harder on Europe to continue to pull it up. At some point, it might just sink, and it sunk. It sunk in last century. It sunk Russia. Russia sunk. China sunk. Europe, half of Europe sunk. It has been pulled down because the weight of tribunal, pagan societies, prime societies was prevailing, and they sunk. They sunk. They just sunk. Now you want to finger point at something? Well, let's finger point at something together. Now you might also expect me to give you the magic answer. Well, I have given you the magic answer and you trashed it in my face. That's not deal I'm going to accept. Because that is not how we see protocol human. That is not the pathway on which each of us are going. I'm going to ask you to be very careful with the language, whoever it is to be addressed. It is not about winning some of you. We are together on this. The civilization is of a human, and a human happens in variety of ways, on variety of destinations, in variety of issues and challenges, and we need to win them all. We need to win in any areas where human has been challenged. So it's not going to be a national question. It's a planetary question. And planetary challenge. It's a planetary challenge. The Olympics is planetary. And so is the Olymp of planet Earth. Just here, a footnote. When I talk about Elon Musk, this is not a DNA-related arguing. This is historic arguing. I don't think that there is something specific in the genetics of the enclosed genetics as it is about the specific historic pathway and certain historic times which delivered certain historic performance and it is therefore completely, totally historic reference, but the one that should be understood correctly. I'm pulling it out as relevant when is relevant. And when it's not relevant, it's not relevant. But if it is a relevant piece of information, then it is a relevant piece of information, and then it should be delivered in its most correct format. Similarly, as a protocol Excalibur. In that protocol, you don't promote someone specifically ahead of time. But when it happens in the specificness, it is important upon all of its specifics in the reference of what it is about. History doesn't happen by rules, but when it happens, it happened, and it should be understood accordingly. I don't think that there is anything special here, that it is not special in any other aspect, on any other territory on the planet. We talked enough these 15 years how magnificent each of the cultures can be, and how magnificent each of the genetic combinations can be in its own spectrum, in its own right time, in its own combination of thousands of the events that would lead to certain outcome. It is our Earth today, and each time it's happening just us as a humanity on Earth. That is the reference. Everything else is specificness, which becomes historic. History. And that history should not be, well, I would say there is no reason to be hidden, because for quite some time actually it doesn't work for the second end of that stick, or should I say the third end of that stick. And yes, there are obviously three parts here in that star, and that is New Zealand, England, and Serbia. Well, it doesn't work for Serbia exactly. Serbia kind of becomes kind of loser or extracting point, because Serbia is in Europe. And because Serbia is closer to the most ancient region of Europe, and ultimately become a fishing point. I would say maybe it's the other way around as well. I would like to be, we would be having more beautiful boys and girls there. Doesn't have to be fishing. We may just invite families to live there properly, as I believe it is what it happened, and it should be understood properly, in the way how we travel on other territories and bring our people. It should be very logical that they would like to go on our territories and bring their families and live there. I can't see why that's wrong. I can't see why they need to be looked now on our territories like from microscopes. Oh my God, what's happening? We are getting some foreigners. They want to live here. Excuse me. And what was when we came here and we wanted to live here? Was that, and from where we came? From thousands of kilometers distance. And we came here with all our families. Here we are. We want to live here, and we are taking your working places, and we are taking and we want to take the best of the working places, or certainly the solid ones, because we are the famous, whatever, the famous architects and the famous, naturopaths, or the famous, I don't know, you're like special ones, and when you come here, it's like God sliding here, and we expect everything to open carpets under our foot here. I wasn't expecting that, but I was expecting to be more competitive. Competitive in terms to for you not to get chance, but competitive in terms to notice people for their potentials, rather than to be afraid of their potentials, and then lock you in the room. Because it was not even at the end of my mind that what was happening in Yugoslavia is going to be here in a master degree, in its matrix, Ireland and Maoris. And that is, you are too much competitive for us. Either we are going to murder you, or we are going to drag you and gypsy you and make kids with you, or we are going to engage you. That is how we work here. And then we have what we have. And we don't want to lose it, because it works for us perfectly. But then you need immigration as much as you need engaged people. Other Chinese are very wise. They bring the capital and they say, excuse me, guys, I employ my people. Not as us. Here I am waiting to be fished or engaged. Available to be disposable. That's Europe. Available to be disposable. So I wanted to say something nice. And that nice is, I understand. I'm going to find brilliant if they want to have their families living with us. I mean, it's time that we improve how our people look, because they get a bit too much local. I mean, a bit too much local. And the beauty of being Yugoslavia was because people looked more beautiful. Actually, people were beautiful. Now they are pulling out the primes and they look like just came from the cave. I don't know what's good in it. Cave people. And also they expect to get the top jobs, because they believe that's the human and the rest is artificial intelligence. No, it is actually mixed breed. And the beauty was dispersed all over the planet, as if you can notice. Also, I mean, look, the animals, are they not beautiful? So what, are they artificial now as well? No, in the context in which this realm is happening, it is the realm in which we live. It is as real as get in the word real, realm. And as all of the words in the word realm are actually real. So we want to use the word fake versus real. I think real is being defined properly by this realm as real. So that is, we accept this realm as real. And then we notice what is in that realm real. And that is, look our beautiful animals and look our beautiful vegetation. The language of Creator is beauty. So the human is supposed to be beautiful. And it is not, well, then we need to do something about it. And that is mixed breed. Mix the breed. Mix the breed. Cave people, no thank you very much. No one wants to look at the cave face. Also, I'm not certainly here to win the medal on that level. My beautiful mind compensates my imperfections. I believe so. I'm getting a bit older, so I have additional excuse. In general, I am pro-beauty person. And I try to deliver beauty out of me, because I look for beauty, and accordingly, I want to be beautiful as well. I believe that beauty is part of the God desire when it was designed, when when I think, oh, it's catchy momentum, yeah. I think that beauty is the language of the universe. And it should not be denied. It should not be called wrong. And certainly should not be called garbage because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to any of our senses. We look for that perfect, beautiful sound, perfect, beautiful sight. Don't tell me that the human is not supposed to be part of that beautiful sight. You have some creature getting out from the cave. It look like just you would not like to have it in, to have that person, to have that something in your view of the beautiful magic landscape of this beautiful planet. Well, then you have your answer. Prime Serbia and prime Yugoslavia. This is the world and the realm of beauty. And you play your game properly. Also, when they see you beautiful, that is like you're a candy and you're supposed to be eaten. And you're not supposed to be employed because unless employment is about you to be eaten. That is, if you're not workable, if you're not eatable, then why you would be employable? That is how beautiful human has been treated on the planet. Under category eatable. If it is beautiful, then it's supposed to be eatable. Because that is what you think when you see a candy. Can I eat it? Look that instinct. Look how we admire things. Can I eat it? Because you like it so much. That is one of the biggest instincts that human has not managed to defeat yet. He has not managed even to notice that instinct. Let aside to defeat it. And it is time to be noticed so it can be defeated. Beautiful people are not for eating. Ladies and gentlemen of planet Earth, I will have to say that, as I have said many times, in regard of Temple of Sinai or Temple of upon over which Palestine and Israel are fighting still to present days, although it has not been enough spoken of. That temple is actually not where it has been reported to be, or rather, that is not the actual historic artifacts, principal historic artifacts related territory. The principal historic artifacts related territory is actually ancient Macedonia, an ancient Macedonian kingdom. Now there are a couple of main areas within ancient Macedonian kingdom, and here Turkey obviously does withhold one good part of it. It was former Byzantine after all, and yes, I believe that there was Byzantine because there was actually Eastern Roman kingdom empire have been actually emerging out of basically on the premises of Eastern Roman. There is some kind of coincidence. Actually, it was previously clearly Alexander's deploy of Alexander's army. Then it has become some kind of Roman imperialism, later become Byzantine imperialism out of the Eastern Roman wing. It has been preserved some kind of coordination of the region within certain imperial frameworking, within certain imperial coordinates, which continue to exist to present times exactly like that. You see, Turkey is very much coordinated with concept of Roman imperialism, which is solidly still present very much in America, in USA of America, and basically entire Byzantine, including, never stopped being east wing of Roman imperialism, which is to the present days as we speak. And today when you speak Turkey, that is how Turkey happens. We may eventually say, okay, who is the headquarters of Roman imperialism, because clearly never stopped. But I want to say in that context that I, in substance, do not agree at all at the protocol Roman imperialism, as I believe that the real secret here is Macedonian imperialism and Greco-Macedonian imperialism. And Greco-Macedonian imperialism actually is still that temple, that secret, that source upon which these territories continue to fight, especially Palestine and Israel. But Saudi Arabia equally is present there, and the entire region is very much present there, and very much engaged in that kind of Roman imperialism game of excavating that ancient plateau of amphitheaters and using it within their domain. And the domain of men as a prime society also come through it, because what is behind the walls of Roman imperialism are prime societies. And they managed to defeat as powerful empire as it was Macedonian headquarters, because they are more numerous. Pagan societies are more numerous. They are north, they are south, they are east, they are south, they are west, they are everywhere. So it has not won Roman imperialism like more advanced society, but prime tribunal societies, where man was honored, not a woman, where man was employing all of these decadent approaches as the tribunals are doing it. Masonry emerged out of it as American version of Roman imperialism. Masonry, which is equally tribunal, because the tribunal escalates into more tribunal. And accordingly, the tribunal Roman imperialism escalated into higher, more tribunal British Empire, even more tribunal White House. They're like gradually declining from imperialism of Macedonia via Roman imperialism, via British imperialism. They're declining towards more tribunal and more tribunal and more tribunal. With White House become Masonry, complete tribunal, worshipping all of these prime ways of worshipping gods. Very, very prime, earlier ways. Or a Baphomet, or a fire, or this devil ship, is all of this fire related, because as in Africa, when they have been dancing in the night out around the fire, because they have been, I don't know, bored, they didn't know what to do with themselves, they have invented some kind of social gathering. It was about together. During the day you are on the field, you are working. At the night there's opportunity to be together, to partner with each other. And it has become about dancing around the fire. And they never stop dancing around the fire, all the way to Baphomet and Masons that are doing exactly the same. They're just dancing around the fire. Now that is one would say what a hypnotic code of the entire universal consciousness. Well, I would not say universal, I would say planetary history, and the lazy human that is lazy enough not to notice things how intelligently that human should be noticing things. And running and going away from there from them, rather than returning magnetically to them, as of what in America is happening. I'm also going to notice England sounds like Buckingham Palace. Who is backing England? Who is backing England? Who is backing Buckingham Palace? Who can possibly be, if not Ireland and Scotland. Well, Scotland and Ireland are backing England. I would say Ireland is substance. It's in substance much more fraternity society. It's Ireland backing the Buckingham Palace, which is totally tribunal society. Tribunal. And that is so easy it is that America become more tribunal. And White House to be epitome of tribunal society. Look now the administration Donald Trump was selecting. It's totally rotten tribunal. Rotten tribunal. One is making his eye. The other married for Indian men. The other completely mentally sick person. They completely mentally dysfunctional, morally dysfunctional. They're appointing it to health department. Excuse me. This is rotten paganery. And it's natural formation. The uglier, the better. More disgusting, better. Want to nicely deliver and deploy tribunal society. Now, why someone wants to deliver that much of a ugly, rotten, disgusting tribunal society in America? Why someone wants to do that? To close the circle? It was thrive since the Macedonian Empire onwards. It was going backwards, it was going down the hill, yet down the hill, and still going down the hill. Our civilization is going down the hill, rather than up the hill. That's how we would want to think of, and how we imagine human is happening. But the fact is that our societies, in the way how the systems are organized, we are going down the hill, not up the hill. And that's the issue here. It is another question when it comes to national identity, as I can hear someone wants to bring now in Macedonia or in Olymp identity question. First, to remind, this is we talk about territory that is crossroad to entire planetary identity actually, and where there is the highest degree of mixed bloodlines. So it is simply wrong. I'm not going to say inappropriate, but I'm going to say simply wrong to talk about national identity on these territories within some kind of physical reference, without to reach actually identity reference, which would make much more sense if someone would like especially to recalibrate on the concept of national historic heritage. Then you would be searching for identity rather than physical format, because there is high degree of mixed bloodlines there, and there is high probability that the identities will be within some kind of range of what are the usual mixed bloodlines present on that territory. That is how reincarnation should be understood. It is basically the identity that would be happening within the certain range of mixed bloodlines. Religion is not going to play that much role within what is much more absolute as are mixed bloodlines. When you reach that topic, that is bloodlines, religion is out of question. What comes on play and under discussion is genetics, and that is much more absolute protocol, and the discussion will need to get more absolute reference, not religious reference. Religious reference cannot apply to genetics in some kind of religious logic, which is rather much more strict, much more labeled, and simply would not be enough of assistance to what we need to dive much deeper, and that is our DNA properties, and underneath the actual national identities as actual historic heritage, DNA related, not religion related. Keep that on mind, please. What, however, I'm going to find as an additional issue is how much Hollywood has been interfering in my work, in what I do here, in my entire life, and for that matter, in life of many other people on our territories. In other words, it is time to ask, as much as Singidunu was for 2 millenniums keeping up our planet, how much we feel still consequences of such settings, and in which aspects we are going to notice that still working very much as active umbrella, not of our own kind, not of our own interest. Here comes question of Hollywood as a second, as a W of Olymp. How much Hollywood continue to play goals of Olymp while being W of it, and how far they are overwriting our actual history, our actual identity, and the fact that Olymp exists as a political protocol, not as entertainment protocol. I have heard now on global television going on complain about the artists versus artificial intelligence. They're complaining versus artificial intelligence. That is more like Hollywood to complain versus possibility of Olymp to reawaken. Excuse me, guys. Then it would be other way around. The Olymp will need to complain about the possibility of artificial intelligence as you are, or artificial political intelligence as you are, to continue to think that they are entitled to do the politics on the planet while actually existing in the corridors of entertainment industry.